How you do? Hi, everyone.
Hello, welcome everybody, and welcome to another backpack series. And my name is Vanessa Pollack, and I'm a parent consultant with the Connecticut Parent Center. For those who doesn't know who we are the parent training information for the Center of Connecticut, for the Connecticut state, I'm sorry. And by law, every state must have a PTI, and we are for Connecticut. Our mission to empower families and children with disability and developmental delay ages from 0 to 26 and the professionals who serve them. We provide telephone consultation, training, and programs, and our goal is for parents to become their children's best advocate, give them the tools that they need to support their children. And today's training, it's all about giving children the clear direction. Welcome, Bethanne, our presenter, if you want to introduce yourself. And just for everybody to know, I'm gonna try go live again, but we recording, so if you want to keep personal names, and if you want to ask questions, you can put it in the chat, or you can raise your hand and we can definitely answer your question. Thank you. Welcome, Bethanne, again. Nice to see you.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Bethanne Vergean. I am part of the Connecticut State Pyramid leadership team. I'm also work at the UConn UCED here at UConn Health. And a lot of my job is around young children, so 0 to 5. And I do a lot of trainings and a lot of work to on regards to social emotional learning. I think it's been about 1.5 years now, we started a series called the Backpack Series, which is materials that we pull from the National Pyramid Innovative Center, which is the pyramid model, which I'll kind of explain about it in a minute. But we pull materials that we can share with parents. If you are a parent or you're just working in an early childhood center, we use this training as an opportunity to provide information for parents. So you can use this PowerPoint, or you can share what I'm going to review. These are mini trainings, so they're not very long. We go through the content, and then we talk about strategies that we can use. In today's backpack series, we're doing giving children clear directions. And then also we can use scripted stories to build children's skills. If you're not muted, if you could just mute yourself, I hear a bit of an echo. So Connecticut is a pyramid state. We have been a pyramid state for a couple of years now. Early childhood practitioners and caregivers and families can use the model to promote young children's social emotional development and also prevent and address challenging behaviors. The pyramid model is based on evidence-based practices, and it's a public health approach to building positive relationships, developing supportive and nurturing environments, as well providing individual supports to address persistent challenging behavior when needed. So this is a tier model. In the tier model, we have the first level is the building relationships and nurturing environments. The second level is social emotional supports. So we need to teach children social skills before we kind of expect them to just learn them on their own. So it's all about being friendship skills and routines and transitions and schedules. And then we want to make sure we talk about those individual supports that needed for children that have more challenging behaviors. So, oh, there we go. Sorry, I didn't realize that my thing wasn't moving. I'm sorry.
Excuse me, Bethanne. Just to ask if you can go a little slower for the interpreter.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So today's backpack, as you can see, this is derived from the Backpack Connection series. And today we're going to talk about how to give clear directions. This is a great tool that families can use, and then early childhood providers can use it with families. It is located on the Pyramid website. You can just download it, and it comes out as a PDF, and then you can use it as part of a newsletter, or families can use it to, at home. So there's 2 sections to the Backpack Connection series is try this at home and then practice at school. So give strategies in both areas. So in regards to listening skills, I love this slide as we see this woman here. Please hold while I suddenly have to go bang my head against the wall, because we always have people that don't listen to us. We have adults that don't listen. We have children that don't listen. And we always say to ourselves, why do I always have to repeat myself time and time again? And then why won't he or she listen to me? So listening and following directions are important skills for young children that they must learn. There are many reasons why children don't follow directions, but it's also how we are giving those directions to. Are they clear directions? Are we giving them a start, middle, and end of the direction? So today we're going to talk about what that looks like. So I know sometimes when I'm thinking about my 9-year-old, but we're also thinking about younger children. Sorry. We're thinking about younger children is when we're giving someone direction. Sometimes they just hear wah, wah, wah. So this reminds me of the Charlie Brown slide that we always see is all I hear is the want, want, want. So children don't always want to hear directions. I'm pretty sure adults don't always want to hear directions either. And then parents often give directions from a distance or in passing. So as I'm walking by my son, who's sitting on the ground playing with Legos, I'm saying, get your shoes on. And then I just keep walking. Did your child actually hear what you said? Because I know sometimes that we have to go back and repeat and say, did you just hear me tell you to get your shoes on? And they're like, no, I never told you that. So just as adults, we often don't hear what our partner is telling us because we're either focusing on reading or emailing or talking. So children too often don't hear what a parent said too. So because they are focused on a task on what they're doing. And sometimes they're focused on what TV program or something else that they're watching. Sorry about my nose. So I have this little phrase called do-wop. So it's state the do. So what the direction is, wait for the compliance. So wait a couple, good 10 seconds, and then ask the child to restate the direction. So I'm asking you to get your shoes on. Wait a minute. Or wait 10 seconds, not a minute. That's way too long. And then you're saying, what did I just ask you to do? You asked me to tie your shoes. So an example is this, we want to start doing this skill with younger children, but I have a 9-year-old, and this morning I asked him, he had a 2-hour delay. So I said, please make sure you empty the dishwasher. And then literally before I left, I said, what did mommy ask you to do? Empty the dishwasher. So again, just reinforcing, coming back and reminding them again. And then also when they are successful and they repeat, oh, I said to wash the dish. Oh, thank you so much. I'm really happy that you're able to help me do that. So always provide encouragement or help. Sometimes you may need to give them help, especially for younger children. So I call it the do-wop. So state the do direction, wait for compliance, ask the child to restate the direction, again, wait till compliance, and then provide encouragement or help as needed. Do-wop. It's important to follow through too when you're giving a child direction. And then, but I like the do-wop. It kind of helps you, and you can sing it in your head. So as part of those directions, how can we put together a social story that helps children learn how to follow directions? So I think social stories are such a great tool to use in many situations. If you're teaching a child rules, if you're teaching a child new routines that you have at home, bringing home a puppy, having a baby, There's so many things that you can do that you can use social stories for. So explaining social situations to children is helping them learn ways of behaving in these situations. And then stories are also sometimes called social scripts or social narratives or story-based interventions. So it's a great tool to use. So here's an example. I can follow the family rules. So we want to introduce rules at home. So for children to follow directions of what we want them to do, we have to put things in place for them to be successful. So here, you can make a book about what your family rules are and have pictures that are associated with them. Or you can also, if there's a routine that you want your child to follow in the morning, you can use a social story or a picture chart for them to be able to do that. Children are more clear of understanding directions when we set them up with the tools. Just like when you give them a direction and then you have to, again, ask them to repeat it back to what they're doing. It's always, I call it like an episode of prompting, prompt all day long, kind of doing a do-wop, but also prompting children to know what they need to do next. It is a forever skill, I think. So here's an example. You can take pictures in your home, like when we talk about the directions, say when you're asking your child to do something like put their shoes on, take a picture of what it looks like. So when you're saying, well, this is what happens when mommy needs help around the house. Here are some of the things that I'm going to be asking you to do, and these are the directions that we need to do it. Here in this example, we have rules in our family. So we have listening ears, we have gentle hands and feet, no wrestling, no tackling each other, and we clean up our messes. And then we always put our dishes away. So there's multiple ways that we do share this. So if you're a parent that's joining us today, this is a great example. You could print out pictures on your printer. You can have your child draw pictures of what listening ears may look like. So you're that way relating the skill that you're trying to teach. So an example of first family rule is to use gentle hands and feet. So if you're playing a game or you're building Legos or you're doing something that you're not maybe tackling your sibling or punching or screaming across the room to your sibling. So giving them directions of during one of our family rules is that we don't scream, we keep it quiet, especially, say mom is working from home or dad's on the phone. So we always use inside voices. And then we don't hit our siblings. So different ways to share skills that you want your child to teach is the best way to use a social story. Just an example of the listening ears, how to clean up their messes. And then let's talk about what I need to do when I give you directions. What are the next steps that we take? For this one is all the family rules. I know what to do when someone tells me that I need to follow the family rules. Remember, behavior is a form of communication. So if a child isn't following directions that you're giving, is it the way that you gave the direction? Is it that they're just being defiant and don't want to do the task that you're asking them to do? So is there a consequence there if they're not going to clean up their room? So if you're going right up to them and saying, you're walking into the room and you're like, this room is a mess and we need to make your bed. So please make your bed, clean up the toys off the floor. And then you leave the room and you come back and the child is clearly then sitting there building Legos and not cleaning up. So it's kind of like, well, if you're not going to listen to the directions that I've given you, then, we need to do consequences. So I'm going to take those Legos away and we need to clean up our room. There's so many resources I'm going to share with you that is on the Pyramid website. So it's the NCPMI website, and there's a section just for family engagement. So again, if you're a parent that's on today, or if you are a provider that works in an early childhood setting, this is such a great tool. And so what we build this whole training series around is called the Backpack Connection. And if you see on my screen here, it goes through every single domain area of social emotional development. So there's one section on emotions, there's one section on routines and schedules, there's another one on social skills, and as well as addressing behaviors. So you can go through each, excuse me, I had a sneeze there. If you go through each of the domain areas, you can see they're categorized this way. So this one right here is addressing behaviors and how to give clear directions. They're very short and sweet. So we built this series on being short and sweet too. I think that if we give key tools to use during our backpack series trainings, then we take them and go back and use them. Sometimes things work and sometimes they don't. And that's why we have this series every month, because next month we'll try a new topic. And then we're also available for some questions and answers. Also how to help your child stop biting, as well as whining, how to teach your child new skills and also expectations, how to understand emotions and disappointment. I used to always say that my son was the king. His middle name was disappointment because everything was a disappointment. So that's a great article and has great tips to use as well. So great tool to be able to use in the Pyramid website. Does anyone have any questions in regarding to the website?
Someone asked in Spanish on a chat.
Oh, okay.
If you can put the link on a chat for them, the one you just shared.
Oh, and Fiona, we are happy to share the presentation. If you just put your email in the chat.
I got it.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, see, Vanessa's on top of it, Fiona.
I got it. But another parent asked if you can put the link, the last link that you just shared.
Oh, yeah, sure.
You can put it in the chat. Those links that you share is in Spanish as well.
Yes, English, Spanish, Portuguese. I also believe it's in Chinese. There are some. Let's see here. Yeah, Arabic, Portuguese, Spanish, and then I believe it's a simplified Chinese is in there too. So great tool to use. You know, again, we want to be able to share tools with our as you know, there's always new tools that we're sharing around the state with parents and early childhood providers. But we want to make them simple. No one wants to sit in a 2-hour training in regards to picking up certain skills. So we want to give you the tools. Take the backpack series, use it with families, use it with yourselves and go through them and take the strategies. So that's what we're here for every month, is to be able to provide that. Is there topics that you're looking for either if you're at a center or a parent yourself? Put them in the chat and we're happy to look through those areas of need and add them to our backpack series. If you are a childcare provider, I'm sorry if I'm going to reshare my screen. If you're a childcare provider and you're looking for problem solving stuff for your classroom, so there is, sorry if I'm going to mess up everybody's eyes as I'm flipping through, but there's the feeling face cards, so you can print them out and use them. So what each feeling face looks like. So teaching your child about emotions. So if they're mad or disappointed, disturbed, bored, they're feeling affectionate. So, and then also too, there's mats that you can put down, print them out, and the kids can draw how they're feeling today. As also there's the feeling wheel that could be used in classrooms. How do we stay calm? So some tools and tips if a child is having a moment of a meltdown. And so what are some great strategies that we can use to be able to calm children down? And then my all-time favorite is the solution kit. So how can we use the solution kit in the classroom? So teaching kids about problem solving. So should I get a teacher? Should I share? Should I take turns? It's also a great tool that you can use at home. So if two of your children are fighting over a toy, how can they problem solve without running and getting mom or screaming mom's name from across the house that somebody isn't sharing? So we want to teach young children how to be able to share. And so we give them the opportunities to figure out the problem themselves. Is it, pull out a timer at home and that they take turns with with whatever toy that they want to share. They can, also take turns, this one plays with this and then the other one plays and then they change again in a few minutes. So it's a great tool. So I put the link in the chat. I encourage anybody like just spend hours. You could do a relaxation thermometer as well. So asking your child how they're feeling today. So are they feeling mad, sad? And it kind of builds up to what the maddest is. And that would be number 5. So great tool. And that also is in Spanish and English.
I have a question, Bethanne.
Yes.
Hold on. Lindsay asked, how can we get on an email list to get updates on where all the trainings are happening? So CPAC website, normally we have there all the trainings that we are having it. So if you check our website, but if you give me your email, Lindsay, I can make sure to add you to our list. And Fiona asked, are there any social stories on the website that I can print to use with my child and would reinforce what they are used in the classroom?
Yes, there is. So there are some templates that you can download. And Fiona, also, you can just, I don't know if you have a computer at home or a laptop, you can go into PowerPoint and make your own social story. So that's another, what I use sometimes is that I just use PowerPoint and I go slide by slide and make what I'm trying to build a social story on. You can, insert stock art, which is, in most PowerPoints they have, like, if you're looking for a picture of a child playing with a toy, you just type in child playing with a toy and then you put that picture in. But yes, if you don't want to do that, you can also there is free templates on the link that I put in the chat. And also too, let me just share my screen while Vanessa is very furiously adding emails. If you have not heard of the Sparkler app, where to go? If you have not heard about the Sparkler app, they also have, I can't even say enough, the best podcast for little kids. So if you're a parent and you're in the car and you have at least a 30-minute drive, throw on the little kids Big Hearts podcast. It's part of the Big Heart world, and it helps parents and educators introduce topics around social emotional learning. It is hosted by an early childhood educator, and he explores all different type of episodes around identity, friendship, and standing up for themselves. It is so good. I'm actually going to pull up the website and share it with everyone. It's not just him talking, it's kids too. So real life kids talking about different social emotional topics. So actually, let me pull it up and I can show you. We should also call this backpack series and tools for the trade webinar training.
Someone just joined. They joined. They asked the link for your resources, if you can put it in the chat.
Yep, I can put it again. Just give me 1 second.
Well, let me see. If you put it, I can copy and put it again. I have to just go all the way up.
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. So the Big Heart world is part of Noggin. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Can you see the Big Heart world?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So here is they just put out an activity guide regarding discussing race with young children. It's excellent. They have why learn heart skills. And then here's the Big Heart podcast right here. Learn more and listen, but it's also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And you can also maybe pull it up on your computer. So this one is about feeling angry. They have kids that join. Let's talk about siblings. Talking about kindness. So, I mean, there's everything, trying new things, but these are kids that are on the podcast as well. Dreams and nightmares, tons of great stuff. And then also, if I have any teachers on the line, there's also educator resources. So art activities that you can do if you're going to do the podcast in your classroom and have kids listen. So I will put that link in the chat box as well. Always need to add things to your toolbox. Anything for teens in regards to following directions or social emotional, Sarah?
And someone asked them Facebook too. Any tip for parents of teens?
Well, I'm not as knowledgeable over the age of 8, but what I could do is we could find some tools for you and send them out to you. On this training, we usually focus on more of the younger children. So I apologize if you joined us and you were looking for more information for teens. But if we go back to, yes, the Challenging Behaviors website is a really good link. Can you put the link for the social stories? Yes, I can. There is for specific strategies. If we go back to the beginning of the presentation that I shared on the following direction strategy, so the strategies that we're talking about today is the doo-wop. You want to sing that with me, Vanessa? The doo-wop. So the doo-wop is, you can use this with teenagers too. So state to them what you're asking them to do, wait for their compliance, then re-ask them to restate what the direction was. Again, wait for compliance, silently count to 5 seconds in your head, and then provide encouragement or help to ensure that they will get it. So it's important to follow through when you're giving child directions. You know, in the beginning of the presentation, I talked about don't do the walk by. It doesn't really help because sometimes, you know, children really aren't hearing what you're saying. So this technique can really use a technique that you can use. Oh my gosh, I can't talk anymore, to make sure that you follow through with your child if they're having difficulty complying or following directions, is doing the doo-wop. But how we present those instructions about following directions and asking children to do things, again, don't do a walk by. So you're passing in a distance or yelling down the stairs. You don't know that you're, you know, you could yell down the stairs and say, okay, we're getting ready to leave, put your shoes on. The child could have their face buried in a book or in the middle of doing something, and they heard nothing that you said. So then when you're coming down the stairs, you're like, wait, you don't have, what? I just told you to put your shoes on. I didn't hear you. So again, all we hear is wah, 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 wah. So make sure you get that face-to-face when you're giving directions. I love that wah, wah, wah.
I don't know if you saw this question. Sure. When Honda asked, when creating our own script stories, is the best to use cartoon, like visuals, or real photos?
You can do both, as long as, so say it's like a dinner time routine. You can use, cartoon, like, what do they call it? Clip art, as long as it's showing what the skill that you're trying. So if you're trying to help the child clean up, if you're doing chores, clean up after, have something that has to do with dinner time, or you can take your own pictures, or you can pull pictures off the internet. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, and a lot of people agreed in here about the Challenging Behaviors website. It is really, really, really good. I mean, I could sit on all day long and pull stuff for families that, email me and ask me questions on things that they can do. But remember, one thing so important, you have to do it repeatedly. Just doing it once is not, the child is not going to pick up the skill. It is a consistent task that you're doing. So if you do end up developing a social story, you have to continue, read that social story every day for a week. Just like in certain books, like if you're trying to teach your child about emotions, you need to read that book every night for a week. So they're not going to pick it up after one time of you reading something to them. It's consistently reinforcing the skill that you want to teach them. Just like when we're learning to drive, it took us a long time to pick up the skill, or, we were learning to bake or learning to cook. Like, those scrambled eggs didn't come out perfect the first time, right? So it's make sure that you're doing it repetitively.
Anybody would like to ask any specific question?
Yeah, and also if there's topics that you're looking for, if there's specific topics you're looking for, send us an email or let us know what you're looking for, and we're happy to embed them into our monthly trainings. Listen, we started this 1.5 years ago, just off of we're like, let's try to build trainings off, a short mini training off of resources that we find that can help families and also early childhood providers. And so we've been doing this for 1.5 years. And every month we try to make sure that we're promoting the best information that we can give, because I feel like when you have more resources in your toolbox, it really does help. Also too, there's a newsletter that the Office of Early Childhood is now doing on a monthly basis. And it aligns with what we're doing here today. So this month, their newsletter for Pyramid, which I believe goes out to all the early childhood providers in the state, their newsletter aligns with the work that we're talking about today with following directions and social stories. So we're trying to align anything that we do so there's one message going out, and we're reaching a bigger audience.
Any questions from Alba? Any Spanish specific questions from people that speak Spanish they would like to tell us?
Sí, muy buenas tardes. Quería preguntarle, yo soy proveedora y quería saber con estos talleres que están haciendo, y está muy interesante, quería saber también si van a dar certificado por estos talleres o no.
Did you hear the question, Bethanne? You muted.
Oh, sorry. No, I didn't hear it.
Bueno, buenas tardes. Quería preguntarle, yo soy proveedora de cuidado de niños y quería saber si es que van a dar certificado por estos talleres que uno participa o no.
That would be Vanessa. Did you hear that question?
Yes.
I don't know the answer to that.
I have to check as well, but if you can put your email on the chat, Luz, I will email you.
Estaría bien. Muchas gracias.
You're welcome.
Buenas tardes, disculpe, ¿me escucha?
Yes.
Solo una pregunta. Yo quería saber todo lo que ha hablado la señora acerca de cómo dar las órdenes y cómo se puede aplicar a un niño con múltiples discapacidades de la misma manera. Yo soy mamá de un niño con múltiples discapacidades. Gracias.
That is a great question. And if for a child with a disability, I'm not really sure what the disability that your child has, but I will tell you that social stories, visual stories are perfect. So if you're trying to teach your child a skill, using that visual is the best way to do it, because sometimes verbally your child may not understand it, but if you're sitting down and using a visual schedule or a visual route, what your routine looks like, or you're trying to teach him how to tie his shoes, doing something visual. Are you teaching him to help you with a chore around the house? It can be as visual as you want, and you can make social stories all day long on how to teach those skills. I will say it's the best way to do it. That was an excellent question.
Muchísimas gracias. You're welcome. It's a question that it was in a chat, very similar, but I just gonna read you. Is any tools for children who are nonverbal or have disabilities? So it's pretty similar to what you just said, Bethanne. And then someone say using a first, then visual can really helpful moving children from one part of the day to another. Okay, the other one is just the email of the person that asked the question.
Using a first then visual can be really helpful moving children from one part of the day to another. Kristen, you are speaking my song. Absolutely. So first let's try this, then let's do this. It's a great way to move throughout the day. And I think, Kristen, sometimes people think that you can only use those in early childhood settings. There's so many strategies that we have that also can be used at home. So you can do the a first and then at home as well.
Any other question, Alba, for the Spanish parents?
And I see here, Vanessa, we do have a mix of early childhood providers and parents. So think about, as an early childhood provider, some of these topics that we're sharing about today, you may already have knowledge of, but then we may have some parents on that don't necessarily have the knowledge. So it's a big rainbow here. So we're teaching all new different things. But I'm so happy that some of the providers joined and had some great tips in the chat for parents. So we appreciate that. The more the merrier, and we're all a team to do this.
Absolutely.
And I do see resource tools for ADHD as well. So those for tools like that, I definitely suggest if you're seeing a specific like developmental pediatrician, that they should be able to give you some tools as well if you are seeing some sort of physician about that. I don't know the child specifically, so I don't want to give out certain strategies on diagnosis that I may not as be familiar with. Every child is different.
But I think a routine for any type of disability, I think is the key as well.
Yeah.
When you have a routine and a lot of visual, normally kids with ADHD, it's very visual.
Very.
So I think everything visual will help them to go through the day or whatever activity that you're planning on it. And someone made a comment, the script story on our website are really great. And I love the actual photos. Some of the cartoon pictures don't always show occurrence in the facial, emotional, or other aspects.
But you
Kristen.
can change them.
Yes.
You don't have to keep the ones that are in there. To go back to the ADHD and, you know, put up on your kitchen, your refrigerator, or in your child's room, what their day looks like every day, what their schedule is. Do a visual. Use that your child as the picture on the visual, like your child eating breakfast, and then after breakfast we're getting on the bus, so it's a picture of your child getting on the bus. You know, you want to set them up for success. So I know some people will be like, oh, well, how many pictures do you have to have around your house? It helps your child. So if that is a visual that's going to help them be successful, you can layer them all over the house. You can label things that pictures of things that they can do. So if you're a working parent and your child gets off the bus, have pictures of things they can do and things that they can't do. You know, that's a way of supporting. Sorry.
And I think too, for kids with, you know, not only the ADHD, but ADD with attention, if you not have, you know, if you're outside and you don't have the visual right there, you know, I think depends on the age, but you have to kind of give them information in small portions, because like if a kid has attention, if you give them a direction has 4 steps, they might not be able to complete them because it's too much information. So I learned the hard way that you have to go in small portions so they're able to comprehend and able to do what you ask them to do, and don't get overwhelmed or lost in the middle of like, what I'm supposed to do it again, and they forget it all. So you're welcome. How about any other question from the Spanish speaker people that are here?
An icky food subject folks don't care to visit. Quite putrid and shocking.
¿Puedo hablar? Hola, buenas tardes. Una pregunta. A mí me compartieron este enlace. ¿Cómo yo puedo tener este enlace para la próxima a estar conectada, por favor? ¿O quieren mi correo? Soy proveedora. Gracias.
If you put your email, Louisa, on a chat, I'll be more than glad to send you the next one when we have the flyer for register. I think each one they have to register, correct, Bethanne? I can email you the next one ahead of time, so you have enough time to register for everybody that here, if everybody wants it. If you can put it in a chat. Someone asked any ideas for positive reinforcement, Bethanne? You muted. You can't
Positive reinforcement. Again, it's it kind of goes back to what I was talking about earlier. Not just introducing a skill or reinforcing a skill once. So if you're trying to teach your child about picking up after themselves, you're going to model it several times before you're going to expect that child to do it. It's so that reinforcing is constantly doing it. Or if you are you could do a social story. So a social story on helping around the house. So what do we have to do to help around the house? Whether it's like a 3 or 4-year-old or 5-year-old, give them one task that they're in charge of. So are they in charge of picking up all the dog's toys off the floor? Are they in charge of picking up all the dishes after dinner? So giving them one thing and then modeling to them on a consistent basis what it looks like, and then letting them do it. Are you going to have to help out sometimes as you're modeling? Yes. But once they catch the skill, and just constantly reinforce, like, that is a great job. Thank you so much for taking those dishes and putting them away for me. You know, are the dishes still full of food? Yes. But did he put the dishes in the sink? Yes. Is that what we asked him to do? Yes. So little by little, you want to just constantly prompt. You want to model what you want them to do, then keep doing it with them, and then set them free to try the skill themselves, and then give them positive reinforcement of, like, what a great job.
Yeah, Rose,
I almost passed out the other day because my child cleaned, we have a puppy, and he made a mess, and my child cleaned it up. I almost had a heart attack. I almost passed out that he said he cleaned it up. But I was like so excited. I was like, that is fantastic. Thank you so much for, you know, doing it without anybody asking you. And so, you know, even when they do the unexpected, it's all about providing positive feedback too. Great job, great job. Even if it's the littlest thing that they did. Great job, great job.
Absolutely. Someone just put it in a chat that their child struggles with organization. A suggestion that was made to her to label doors, storage
Yes.
bins. That helps also reinforce organization skills when you label everything. And if they can't read yet, you can put it the words and the picture, like if it's Legos. I did it a long time ago when my kids were little. I put the word Lego, even though they couldn't read, but I just put it there so they could identify and associate the Lego with the picture of the Lego. So of course, you know, in the beginning, they go through the picture, but they start being familiar with the letters and cars, you know, if it's dolls or crayons. I think the visual and the word for the kids, they are little kids that don't read yet. It's important, I think, to have the wording to add to the organization skills.
Another great thing, this is like my favorite to do this every month, is that we have such a great audience today, but also too, we're sharing strategies together. I am not the PhD of social emotional. Have I been doing it a long time? Yes, but I'm learning from some of the stuff that everyone's putting in the chat. And this is why I love this. We're learning from each other. The organizational thing was such a great to add, Rosa. Thank you so much.
Yeah, great.
So yes, if you want to be on the message every month about, we're always the second, we're usually the second Wednesday of the month. So our next session, I believe will be the 19th, because that week is April vacation. So I think it'll be April 19th, and I'll talk to Vanessa more. But if you're interested in being on the, getting the word of mouth about this, our next session, please just drop your email in, and we'll add you to the list.
I think everybody that send us the email that want to share the PowerPoints, I probably email them the next one as well. So that way they will all know.
Yeah, I'm saying April 19th because that other week is spring break. And I will actually be away for the first time on vacation in 3 years.
Nice.
Yes, I'm going to Disney.
Wow.
Yeah.
Super nice.
Yeah. Long time coming.
A lot of walking.
Yes. Yes.
Be ready. Any other question in Spanish, Alba?
I don't know if Alba's still on. Oh, there she is. Okay. Okay. I was like, where'd she
Que
go?
muchísimas gracias, que fue muy interesante todos los tips que nos ha dado a nosotros como proveedoras y también compartir a los padres también.
Yay! Oh, good. And you I'm gonna put my email in the chat. If you ever you're like, I need something on transitions, just email me. And I'm happy to help you find something. This is one of my favorite things to do. And thanks everyone for joining us today. We like to keep it short and sweet, give you as much information. And I hope you were able to eat your lunch while you hung out with us. Vanessa and I are like a road show.
I was writing down all the
Yeah.
email. I want to make sure I got
Yeah,
all.
we don't want to miss anyone's email. So I hope everyone has a wonderful Wednesday.
I'm gonna stop sharing on
Yeah,
Facebook.
everybody has a wonderful Wednesday. We'll see you on April 19th. Have a great day.
Stop the recording.